I'm Leigh Zinsmeister, Managing Editor for Nation's Restaurant News. I am joined today by Candice Jacobson of IHOP, and we are going to talk about influencer marketing, which is such a hot topic in the industry right now. So Candice, tell me about what IHOP is doing with influencer marketing.
Yeah, so influencer marketing has become a huge part of our media mix. It's kind of table stakes for every promotion we use. We use it in three ways. So we have brand ambassadors. Those are folks we pay for products and promotions. Second is earned, really cultivating those relationships with people who are brand fans. And then third is cultural. So how can we tap into culture of athletes or celebrities who love us? And really leveraging those three ways to get people to tell our brand story.
I know that your brand story has a lot to do with your purpose and the company's vision. How do you go about making sure that the influencers you're working with, whether they're ambassadors or whatever kind of influencer, how do you make sure that their values align with your values and that they help tell your story in that sense?
Yeah, so our purpose is to spread joy every day. I think everyone has an IHOP story, and it's usually a happy memory that they went with their parents or their grandparents or their friends after a night out. And we really try to align with influencers who serve joy as well. So we have a pretty stringent review process, and we work with influencers to make sure that they do align with that purpose. And I think making sure that they have the right followers that we want to attract to our fan base and make sure to spread our message.
And when it comes to social media, there are so many different social media platforms. And there are like more every day. There are probably some I haven't even heard of yet that are like critical. How do you decide where to focus your energy? If it's TikTok, if it's X, if it's one of those other ones I'm not familiar with, like how do you decide where to put your efforts?
Yeah, so we definitely have a channel-driven strategy. So we see Gen Z, and I'm an Xennial, so I'm on all of the platforms, but Gen Z is primarily on TikTok. Millennials are mainly on Instagram. We do a couple gaming partnerships. We just did one with Sonic this year. Gamers are on X. So we really lean to that channel-driven strategy, but also where the influencers have their following. So one might have a huge following on Instagram and not on TikTok, and we'll leverage their Instagram account instead of TikTok just to reach that audience.
And how do you decide what kind of influencer to go after? Are they micro? Are they macro? What goes into a decision around that?
I think we primarily focus on our core audience, which is families. And that's families, any kind of families. That's the families that are your friends, that's your golf buddies, that's your friends you go out with. But we work with all kinds of influencers. I think we really try and community manage and really celebrate those smaller brand fans too. But macro is a huge piece of our strategy as well as micro. And I think making sure we're engaging with fans across all platforms, whether that's leaving a pancake emoji on a comment that makes someone's day. And I think that's really what we try and do, is work across all levels of influencer.
Tell me about what sort of impact influencer marketing specifically has had on IHOP's brand, whether it's specific KPIs that you're tracking or just like if it's fostering a sense of community. Like what kind of impact does this kind of marketing have on IHOP?
Yeah, so I've been in the marketing industry for 20 years, and there was an influencer 20 years ago, and I'll date myself, I was updating a MySpace page. Today there's, like you said, a million platforms that you can post on, but I think it's table stakes now. You want these folks to really tell your message, and I think the one thing that we find with influencer is people want to find folks who are relatable. So I'm a new mom. And the first year of my kid's life, I checked TikTok and searched TikTok for everything. And I think 34% of people now are looking at social to research where they want to go and eat, what they want to make for dinner. And I think that relatableness makes the influencers we partner with so much more impactful.
And what steps do you take to make sure that these influencer campaigns have an authentic feel?
Yeah, so I think it all starts with the brief, and I think making sure that we let the influencers tell their story. So obviously, if we're pushing all you can eat pancakes, we want that message to come through, but ensuring that they're owning their content that resonates with their audience is super important.
What advice would you give to someone who works for a restaurant brand, whether it's one unit or a big brand like IHOP, who wants to start influencer marketing? What's the first step? What's your advice?
I would say listen to your audience, listen to your community, big or small. If you have brand fans, really celebrate them. I say engage with them. If you can only send them a gift card, if you don't have a huge budget, those are the people that are going to stick with you the longest. And they don't need to be the huge people with millions of followers. If you have those small guys that really support you, that's going to resonate with your community.
And finally, I want to hear the story of your favorite influencer campaign. You know the story I'm talking about already, but I don't want to ruin it for our audience by calling it by what I call it in my head. So tell me about your favorite campaign.
Yeah, so it was a couple years ago. Adam Sandler came into one of our restaurants and was turned away. There was a 30-minute wait, and our host actually posted that on TikTok. He then tweeted, he thought the all-you-can-eat special was on milkshakes, and so we then created Milkshake Monday, where we sent a portion of the proceeds to Comedy Gives Back, which is a charity that we know that Sandler is very connected with, and we offered free milkshakes in Jersey for the day, and then buy one, get one free milkshakes across the U.S. And the wrapper on the bow was that our hostess that did turn him away that day got to meet him, and it was a really great program that we're pretty proud about.
I love that. It's great to see the way that like influencer marketing, like first of all, can happen by accident, and second of all, that you can take it and spin it into something that's really good for your community and that aligns with your purpose at IHOP.
Agreed.
So that's a great story. Candice Jacobson, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and for your time.